Yeah, we've got a really interesting one today. We've got this big black oak, Quercus kellegai. It's a wild native tree, and it's had a lot of work done on it in the past. I made the decision to remove this large limb right here because there are two significant decay pockets, one on this side and one on the back side. Over here, I can show them to you. But what's really interesting about this tree is that a long time ago, somebody decided to fill these cavities with foam. And it's too dark to see it. I'll go up in the tree and show you, but there's a big area of foam right here. There's one up over here. There's one up over here. All through the tree, there's areas where somebody a long time ago thought that the smart thing to do was to pour in a two-part polyurethane foam that expands. And there's quite a bit in here. They might have possibly used an aerosol, but what that does is it hides any way of inspecting the cavity. So it does not help to allow the tree to heal up over the wound. It does not help by keeping insects or even moisture out of there. It keeps it moist, and it actually exacerbates decay. So we've got to make some decisions here based upon what we find. Big, beautiful tree. The client loves it, but we got to make it safe. There's also some other problems at the base of the tree. You see some cracks down here at the base. And here's a spot where the bark has actually come off. And I don't want to pull the bark off there because that'll just leave it looking ugly. But this whole area at the base of the tree here is decayed. And now it's solid underneath, but it's dying back. You can oftentimes find these cracks, and if you push on the bark, you'll see, like here, you can see that the bark is loose. That's a good way to inspect the tree. Now, if I had opened it up and it was hollow all the way up and through, that would have really worried me. Now, the tree is on its way out, but oftentimes these really old monarch trees, it may take decades for this tree to die. So my job is to keep the tree reasonably safe and minimize the leverage so we can prolong the life of the tree. Okay, I'm going to go up in the bucket here and take a little bit closer look at some of these decay areas and make some decisions based upon just how bad the decay is. This is one of the areas where there's some of that foam that's inside that is kind of hiding. I have no idea how bad it is. And they put a covering of some sort of tar or something over the top of it that really gives you the false illusion that it's safer than it really is. So you can tap on that black bit, now it's peeled away, but unless you know what's going on underneath one of these cavities, it's just a guess. Now, a long time ago, in the olden days, it was quite common for people to fill cavities with cement. And the theory was that the cement would allow the tree to grow over and callus over the wounds, and then it would heal. And there's actually a lot of examples of old wounds that are completely covered up. It's miserable on the chainsaws when the tree dies, but the theory was that because it covers it up, then the healing will prolong the life of the tree. Well, the actuality of it is that any kind of a filler that you put inside of a cavity does not keep it dry. It doesn't keep insects from getting started. It does not prevent fungus or any of the other problems that are normal to decay. In essence, it's cosmetic, but on the negative side, it does not allow you to inspect it. So, as an industry standard, there are not too many people that fill cavities anymore. I think it's a huge mistake, because when I see a cavity, I want to know how bad it is. Years ago, people used to put drainage holes at the bottom of cavities when they filled up with water. Dr. Alex Shigo did some studies on this, and he concluded that while it's not good to have water in there, it's worse to drill an additional hole and accentuate the decay that goes further down, because as you create a hole and you've got all this water that's running through, now it just increases the future size. There's also a lot of theories that in an anaerobic state, a cavity that's full of water does not decay as fast as a cavity that gets wet, dry, wet, dry. I don't really know. I agree with that, and when I do find a cavity that's got water in it, I usually inform the people. The biggest problem is sometimes mosquitoes lay eggs in there, and that, you know, is a breeding ground for mosquitoes. But cavities are bad, but you have to evaluate them based upon the extent of the decay, and little probes like this go a long ways. All right, here's a little bit closer shot of one of these cavities that somebody filled with foam. And I always bring along a probe. I've got this little probe that I made here, real simple, but I ran it in there. It goes in quite well, and I can see that it goes in about 8 inches or so. So there's a considerable amount of foam in here, and in different spots it goes different depths. But had I not probed it, I wouldn't have had any idea as to the extent of this. It could have been hollow all the way through. It could have been, you know, right on the verge of breaking. Because of this weakness, and because of the much larger weakness on the other side, and the fact that this is a play area down here for the kids, I made the decision to remove this very, very large limb. I don't like taking off large limbs unless there is a safety issue, and this one, when you see the other side, you will concur. All right, further up in the tree, I found yet another cavity, and you can see there's some kind of material was put on it. I don't know, it looks like some kind of, it's quite hard. I've never seen that done before. And you can see that the tree has in fact started growing up and over this filler, so it'd be really easy for someone to say, see, it was a good idea. But you know, I have no idea how bad this cavity is. I've got to probe it, I've got to get in there, and you can see I see insect wings and all sorts of things going on, and insects still bore and get out of there. If this is a really significant decay pocket here, then maybe I need to take more weight off of these branches. So I'm going to pull my probe out and see just how bad this is. Oh my goodness, look at this one. Same sort of treatment. I can see foam underneath and some sort of a hard concrete type covering on that. And this whole limb is starting to die back. Boy, I got to make some decisions on this too. You know, I get up in some of these big trees, and it's really tough to bid these jobs because I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't know how bad it is. So, well, all I can do is look and make a decision. But I certainly am going to contact the client and tell them what I find before I make big cuts. Very important. Now there's a significant old wound, and I can see foam bubbling out of it, and I can see those concrete patches on there. Got to look at that one as well. All right, look what I found. Here's my probe. So that's about 18 inches. It went in straight through the foam, 18 inches. If this was concrete, I would not be able to do that. So from that perspective, I guess the foam, if you really have to do that sort of thing, is probably a better idea. But had I not probed it and not pushed something in there, I mean, it bottomed out there. So I can't go any deeper. I wouldn't have had any idea as to the extent of this weakness. So now that I know, I think I'm going to have to take a few more excessive cuts. Maybe excessive is not the right word, but goes in, that's about a foot. It's going up, almost, there you go, bottomed out. It's about 16 inches that way. Okay, I'm further up in the tree here, and you can see it's got some kind of a hard material on there. Somebody has dug this out and made a nest in there. This has rotted all the way down. This whole limb is in really, really rough shape. And it's dying. Still some green on it. It does kind of add to the balance of the tree, so I'm going to probably just come back to a point where I can get it safer, but it's not over the play area, so the target is not as bad. It probably should come off, but it'll leave the tree a bit more unsightly. I did thump on one of these things, and the bees started flying all over the place, so there's an active hive in here somewhere, and I think just the banging on the cavities pissed somebody off. So I gotta look for that. Adam got stung. I got stung right in the back of the head. Man, my head is just killing me right now. Feels like there's a hot poker in there. Now we got to do something about these damn yellow jackets. At the very least, we got to clean up the mess so we can stay away from them. But nothing else goes down that direction. What are the odds? We get into a problem with yellow jackets, and the neighbor comes over and says, "Hey, I've got a complete bee suit if you want." So Adam's going to don this bee suit here so he can clean up. You ever put one of these things on?
This is the most important part of the whole thing. Otherwise,
What is that, for the sleeves?
No, they want to curl up your leg and bite your butt. So this one kind of protects you.
All right, Adam, go clean up. Now, you just grab this up and pull it up. I don't think there's anything too heavy down there. But you know what? I'm not going to go down there because you're going to piss them off. They're going to swarm all over the place. I'm getting out of here. He's going to piss them off. They're going to swarm him.